In the mid-19th century, the French introduced the baguette to Vietnam as part of their colonial influence. By the 1950s, Saigon boasted French-style bakeries, where Vietnamese workers mastered European techniques. The crisp, airy bread became a symbol of colonial luxury, yet its accessibility laid the groundwork for a culinary revolution. Over time, the baguette would transcend its origins, becoming a staple in Vietnamese street food culture. Vietnamese bakers began adapting the baguette by blending local rice flour with imported wheat, creating a lighter, crispier version suited to tropical climates. Bamboo baskets replaced European cooling racks, and street vendors experimented with shorter baking times for a chewier crust. This hybrid bread retained the French shape but developed a distinctly Vietnamese character, a testament to resourcefulness and cultural fusion. By the 1960s, bánh mì emerged as a full-fledged fusion dish. Vendors stuffed baguettes with pickled daikon, carrots, cilantro, and Vietnamese pâté, a cheaper alternative to French foie gras. Chili sauce added heat, while cucumber provided crunch. This portable meal reflected Vietnam's agrarian roots and French influence, offering a balanced mix of protein, vegetables, and carbs for laborers and office workers alike. During the American War, shortages forced bánh mì vendors to improvise. Canned meats like Spam from U.S. military rations replaced fresh pork, while margarine stood in for butter. Scarcity bred creativity. Vendors used every part of animals, from head cheese to blood sausage. These adaptations made bánh mì a survival food, sustaining civilians and soldiers amid bombings and supply chain disruptions. Bánh mì became a subtle act of defiance. Locals embraced it as a symbol of Vietnamese resilience, even as American fast food chains entered Saigon. Graffiti near vendors read "Da Dao De Quoc Mi," down with American imperialism, yet the sandwich itself, born from French and Vietnamese ingenuity, transcended politics. Eating bánh mì was both a daily ritual and a quiet celebration of cultural identity. Post-war poverty made bánh mì indispensable. For just a few dong, workers got a hearty meal, packed with calories and flavor. Vendors operated on razor-thin margins, buying day-old baguettes and inexpensive offal. Entire families depended on sandwich carts, which became microeconomies, supplying jobs for butchers, pickle makers, and bread deliverers. Bánh mì wasn't just food, it was a lifeline. From Hanoi to Saigon, bánh mì developed distinct personalities. Northern versions used softer baguettes with fewer fillings, favoring grilled pork and fish sauce. Southern styles piled on pâté, cold cuts, and mayonnaise. Central Vietnam added fiery shrimp paste. These differences mirrored regional climates and histories, Hanoi's austerity versus Saigon's abundance, yet all shared the same DNA: French bread, Vietnamese soul. By the 1980s, a standardized classic bánh mì emerged: crispy baguette, pork belly, head cheese, pâté, pickled veggies, cilantro, chili, and a swipe of mayonnaise. This combo balanced textures: crunchy, creamy, chewy, and flavors: sweet, sour, spicy, umami. It became Vietnam's answer to the hamburger, a democratized masterpiece equally loved by students, CEOs, and tourists. The recipe was simple, but its perfection took decades. US troops stationed in Vietnam were initially skeptical of bánh mì, but many grew addicted. Some dubbed it the Vietnamese hoagie and brought the habit home. Others rejected it as too foreign, preferring mess hall burgers. For locals, watching Americans eat or dismiss their national sandwich encapsulated the war's cultural clashes. Food became a silent battleground of acceptance and resistance. After 1975, bánh mì endured as Vietnam rebuilt. Street vendors navigated rationing by using government-subsidized bread and whatever fillings were available. The sandwich symbolized normalcy amid hardship, a cheap, filling meal for factory workers and students. Even as the country modernized, the sight of bicycles loaded with sandwich carts remained a constant, stitching communities together one baguette at a time. Vietnamese refugees carried bánh mì to Los Angeles, Paris, and Sydney in the late 1970s. Overseas, it evolved again, incorporating local ingredients like jalapenos or avocado while staying true to its essence. By the 2000s, food critics hailed it as the world's best sandwich. What began as colonial imposition had become a global icon, a delicious legacy of displacement and resilience. When Western chains like Subway attempted bánh mì-inspired sandwiches, Vietnamese communities recoiled. The sterile, mass-produced versions lacked soul. no crackling crust, no hand-sliced herbs. Purists argued that true bánh mì required the chaos of street stalls, where each vendor's recipe reflected family history. The backlash spurred a revival of traditional methods, from wood-fired baking to homemade pâté. In the 2010s, young Vietnamese chefs redefined bánh mì using heritage breed pork, organic vegetables, and small-batch fish sauce. Hip cafes in Hanoi and Saigon served deconstructed versions with tasting notes, while street vendors gained Instagram fame. This movement honored tradition while elevating the sandwich to gourmet status, proof that humble food could be both progressive and deeply rooted. Today, bánh mì is celebrated as Vietnam's culinary ambassador. UNESCO considers it for intangible cultural heritage, while food tours highlight regional styles. For Vietnamese people, it represents more than a meal. It's a story of adaptation, resistance, and triumph. From colonial kitchens to war-torn streets to global fame, the baguette's journey mirrors the nation's own, fractured, blended, and ultimately unbreakable. As Vietnam embraces modernity, bánh mì faces new challenges: rising ingredient costs, gentrified streets, pushing out vendors, and climate change affecting rice crops. Yet its essence persists, a 50-cent sandwich that feeds millions daily. Whether served in a Michelin-starred restaurant or a roadside cart, bánh mì remains a testament to the power of food to adapt, endure, and unite across borders and generations.